What is up, guys? Today I'll be doing my first ever card submission. I'm going to be looking over my cards, the ones that I have selected. I got, like 15, 20 maybe here in the stack. I'm going to be going through, picking through the ones that I want to send. I want to try to get as close to 10 and gem as many of them as I can. If something's kind of borderline, I might do it just to test it out. I might not. We'll see how it goes. I do have a couple tools that I did pick up. I got this 30x magnifier. It also has a light on it. Pretty nice and handy for checking surfaces, corners, edges, that type of thing. So I got that. I also got this box with the light. So that this it's gonna help me check that surface for any scratches, dings, pits that I am not seeing with the naked eye. So that's going to be nice to have as well. If you guys are interested in any of these, I will add a link in the description for both of these so you guys can get them if you guys are looking to do your own grading for your cards. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is more or less just document this for myself, just to see, what cards had what dings, what scratches, what I noticed before sending it in. That way when something comes back, I know, hey, this had this damage. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to document it, write everything down, and just kind of let myself know, what I am expecting and what I should be seeing. So just going to go over the cards here that I am going to be subbing. I got a 2021 Donruss Optic Downtown of Trevor Lawrence. Have the same 2021 Downtown of Troy Polamalu. We got a Downtown of Peyton Manning. We got a Jamar Chase checkerboard. It's going to be a 2021 as well. We have a 2020 Donruss Optic, or just a Donruss Downtown of Justin Herbert. That's pretty cool. I pulled that one out of a blaster. Then we got a Deion Sanders Kaboom from 2021 Absolute. Here we have a Tom Brady. This is going to be, like, I believe, a Freedom Parallel. This is number 20, or this is a 2021 Optic piece as well. This is something I traded for. Here's another one that I ended up buying, a Select 2021 Tom Brady number 249. Another purchase that I made, a Tom Brady Pink number to 399 out of 2013. Got a Tom Brady, like a Pulsar, a blue from Prism of 2013. Picked this up at the last card show. Did a trade for it. It's a Aaron Rodgers rookie card, I do believe. So there's that, 2005. A Kenny Pickett, 3 of 20 from Score. Decided, might as well give that a shot, send it to grading. Since Jordan Love has been hot, numbers have been high. Great, potential for this guy. So wanted to send that guy in. It's raw. I looked it up. It's about a $100 card. If this is something that's going to be worth sending in, looking good, I will send it and get it graded and hopefully get it back before the season starts, and that way I can sell it. And here we have a NFL debut, Kenny Pickett Silver. Once again, a guy that has some potential to do good things there in Pittsburgh. Next we have a Joe Burrow. This is going to be a blue scope, Joe Burrow at a 2020 Optic, and then a Trevor Lawrence at a Topps. They did a little Topps Trevor Lawrence collab when he had a bunch of hype around him coming out of college. So these are the cards that I will be looking to sub, get them graded. Once again, I'll look over them, making sure there's no big surface stuff, any issues, centering. I'll kind of take a look. I'll be comparing, since a lot of these cards aren't just brand new, I'll be comparing these with cards that other people have listed and have sold as PSA 10. So for centering, stuff like that, I will be looking at that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll start documenting. And as I'm looking, I will be using a microfiber cloth to clean the cards softly, just kind of making sure there's no fingerprints, nothing on there, just kind of rubbing it, circles, little lines, cleaning everything off, any kind of lint or whatever might be on the cards. Who knows? I'll be cleaning that off, and once they are done, they will go in these card saver sleeves. So we can go ahead and start off by writing down the names and years. So after inspecting this card for a little bit, I did find a smudge on the top right. Let me see if I can kind of get it on there for you guys. Right top left of that optic box, there's like a little smudge, little discoloration. It's almost like right in between those two circle lights, top left. That might be able to get wiped, so I'm going to try to wipe that with the microfiber cloth. And then on the left side middle, there is a dimple right in front of kind of where my thumb is. Let me see if I can't get a... I mean, and it's even tough to find with this, so I might be okay if they're using the 10x scope at PSA to grade. I might be okay to get away with this. Let me see if I can find it again. It was right in front of that black line, right Okay, so I can kind of see it now. It's right where those like the three lines almost come together where my thumb is, and it's kind of right where they all come together. It's kind of hard to even see here, you know, on camera. You can kind of see it there, dimple right in front of the chest of that gray lion, where the line that comes right out straight, and that's kind of the intersection point of where it's at. So there's a little bit there. I'm gonna try to run a microfiber cloth on that, see if I can't get something off there. And then this top right corner, let me see if I can't get some light on it either. It seemed just like some kind of glue or some kind of goop, maybe something that they used for sealing packs or whatever. There's a little on that corner. It's on the line, one of the lines that comes out. You know, kind of hard, once again, hard to get it on camera, but there's a little something up there. And then in the middle-ish on top, I did see another, you know, little dimple. Let me see if I'm able to find it here. It's also on a line, which is kind of tough to see without really magnifying it a lot. So I might be able to get away with that. So that was top left corner. I had a smudge. Top middle left, I had a pinhole that was on that line. And then the biggest thing that kind of got me is I was taking a look at the back. I mean, I did see a lot of fingerprints. You guys might be able to see them, like right there. There's fingerprints and stuff that need to get wiped before I send this card in, so I don't get dinged. But the biggest thing that I saw, centering looked great, front and back. My biggest thing that had me concerned is right here, this top corner. See if I'm able to get it the right magnification on there to show. But that corner looks like a little bit of a crease on it, and it's even hard to show in here, but in real life it's easier to see. Kind of tough to get it to focus on the camera and get it on camera and get it to focus. But you guys can see there's like a little bit of almost rolling, a little bit of rolling going on. I'd really like to get this on camera so I can see this later. So if it, you know, so that was kind of what concerned me of getting a PSA 9 as opposed to getting a perfect 10. Yeah, that's just so hard to even show it on there. I can see it. I can see it in real life, but just getting it on pop up on camera, you can kind of see it. Yeah. You guys can see like right there, right where that light's at. There's a little bit of a slightest, ever so slight crease right there, and that's kind of what has me concerned of potentially getting a PSA 9. Getting this in a 10 would be absolutely phenomenal. But that is what I am looking at for possibly a PSA 9 on this. So I'm just gonna write PSA 9 just on the side, just so that's kind of my guess on this grade. But once again, these fingerprints gotta go. And then on top right, I also had a little bit of something to work on getting out. There was possibly a dimple in the middle here. Right over here was a little bit of some kind of goop. I'm just giving it a light rub with it being dry without adding anything to the card. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get the little dimple down here, and I'm gonna really look at them closer to make sure I get them out. All right, just got back done cleaning off the fingerprints on the back. Did a quick run over with my microfiber cloth. Did that. I got this little like fine cloth. I don't know, it's not really microfiber, but it's a little bit thicker, maybe used for like detailing cars or something like that. And I just lightly kind of went over, tried to looked like a little bit of residue right here, up here in this top right hand or top left side of this. There's a little bit of residue right up there. And I tried to get it off just with this. There is still, some of it went away, but some of it was still there. Wiped down everything else. Everything else looked fine. So the only thing that I'm really concerned about on this card is going to be this top right corner. It does have, it's kind of buckled. It's got, I don't know, a little bit of a crease to it. But the things that I kind of go over, so first things when I'm grading a card I look at is going to be the centering. And with these I look down here on right and left side of this downtown to see where this green label's at. And then same with this up here, like so. We got to have the same distance from here to here and there to there. And then pretty much same distance from there to there and here to here. And this one looks pretty darn good, so I am good with that. Once again, corners, check the corners front and back. Front ones look absolutely phenomenal. The back side, I did find that one right up here was a little bit dinged up. So PSA 10, I don't know. This for me is going to be a thing to see kind of what PSA lets slide, what they let go, what they don't go. So I'm assuming PSA 9 just because it does have the damage, it's there. But so check your corners, front and back. Also check your edges, look for chipping, anything where it's more pronounced on black cards. Well, you'll have like a back border on the back, and it'll just be kind of beat up and chipped, and you'll see from black to white a little transition where the card was damaged or was not, when it was cut, it chipped off, flaking, that type of thing. So look for that as well. These chrome cards usually don't have that. Sometimes we'll have bad cut lines, meaning it's cut and there's like, stuff is fraying up and sticking up. Didn't see much of it here on this card, so I'm moving on. And then after checking your edges, I'm checking the surface, looking for, print lines, scratches, dimples, any kind of residue. If the residue is able to wipe off, I will go ahead and wipe it off. If, I do my best microfiber cloth, and then something a little more heavy duty, if you want to call it that. Just a, light rub, little circle motion to get that off. And with this one, there's still a little bit up there, and I'm just going to leave it, see what happens. I don't want to get too carried away. I don't want to damage the card by trying to get that off. So, and then once again, cleaning off the fingerprints. That was kind of the last step before I loaded it into the penny sleeve. And then once that is done, I'm just going to go ahead and send it into a card saver. Had a few of these hanging around, so I'm just going to go ahead and send it right in there. And once again, be careful. You don't want to damage your card on your very last step. So get it in there, and then fill out your PSA form. Right now I got a few more of these cards to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump to my next card. So next I have a 21 Optic Palomalu Downtown, and the first thing I check for is centering. Once again, downtowns I'm looking for down here in the bottom on this green border, the name you got here. So here this looks to me to be a little bit bigger than this. On this side looks a little bit smaller, so looks like it's a heavy on the right side. As we take a closer look up here, once again, this should be the same amount as there, and this looks to be a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier than there. And I do believe that PSA has a little bit of leeway to make sure that, for centering, kind of, it gives you the chance to, they're a little more giving on the centering. If I take a look at the back centering as well, I always check the back card as well. So right here, you can see that this is a little bit thicker than that, not by much, but it is off, telling me that it is heavy on this side. It's going to be on the right side here and on the left side here. So that was just something that happened when they were, cutting up the cards. This side was a little bit off and made this side a little bit thicker. So I'm going to be marking that as a find on my little research thing that I'm doing now. Next on the list of things to check for is the corners and edges. Went through, got it out of the penny sleeve, checked corners, front and back. Chrome cards are pretty good for staying pretty solid, pretty strong. Front and back, they both look good. The edges look good, no chipping, no dents, nothing like that. So next I am moving on to the surface, checking the surface. And once again, I got my mag, got my light. Checking this, and I don't see very much. I'm going to go ahead and go through one more time and check it very thoroughly. Once again, the chrome stuff is easier to see any kind of flaws on that. Stuff that has the color on it, unless it's chipped and it's missing something, or it's a big dimple, it's really hard to see unless it's something that is very deep. So pay attention when you're doing these chrome cards. Just looking, dimples is a big thing that you can find, or even print lines when they are making these cards. So keep an eye out for those. Coming back with an update here on the Troy Polamalu card. Once again, centering was off. Upper left-hand side scratch. So right up here on the left-hand side, I'm going to try to get it zoomed in focus. You guys could see, you could see it with the naked eye. You could see it right there on the left side below the optic to the left, almost on the very edge. It runs kind of parallel with the line that's next to it. You could see it looks like just a little hairline scratch. So we got that. That is pretty massive with centering. And there was a light scratch down the middle. You can't see with the naked eye. I kind of rubbed it, and it looks even more faint under the lens, so I'm not too worried about that. And then on the right side, there was a dimple, but I was able to get that off. There's a little bit something left over still. I can still see something with the naked eye, like right over here in this area. Looks like a little tiny dimple. I mean, that's kind of there, so that's also something to kind of watch for. And then on the On the back, on the right side, on the green portion, there is some like color discoloration stuff going on, like right about there. Let's see, just get under the magnifier since I have it, might as well. But it just looks like, let's see if we can't. Yeah, it's a little harder to see. You can kind of see a little bit right there. It's a little white speck on that green border that goes on the outside, right there in the middle, kind of. It's a little speck of green, so that's my other thing. Otherwise, the back had a couple little smudges and goofy stuff down here. I just hit it with the microfiber cloth and went over it, and it went away. And now just me talking, spitting on the card, saw a little circle there. Here's a little something by Panini. Just want to get all this stuff off before putting it back into the penny sleeve. Clean this card, grabbing a new penny sleeve. This one, I'm kind of torn. I'm gonna get a second opinion on this to see if I should submit it or not. I'm thinking this is probably like with that scratch and off centering, two kind of big things that kind of ring up. So it's like if I send it to get an 8, that's not worth it. I'd just rather sell it raw. So save myself the cost of submitting the card, and then I'd be able to move it and not be too worried about holding on to it or whatever. Even though Troy Polamalu, awesome, legend, great guy, but we will see. This is going to be something that I'm going to be looking over, get a second look at it. Next card was this Peyton Manning. Everything looked good. Centering looked good. Edges, corners, everything looked good. One thing that did not look good, you guys might see it in the glare, right by that Colts emblem to the right side. Right here, there is just a massive, looks like possibly glue, some kind of residue. As I pull the microfiber cloth over top of it, it kind of catches it. You can kind of hear it snagging almost, kind of feel it. And then another thing that's going to be kind of hard to see is there are a lot of little tiny print lines that go from side to side. Going to try to get that glare, try to get a glare on it to show you guys that those print lines, you can kind of somewhat see them right there. Or not print lines, it just looked like it was slid. Like somebody was sliding this card, look as you're looking through cards, sliding it side to side, and this didn't have a sleeve on it or something, which I don't know why you would do that, but that is a potential possibility of what was going on. So this is probably going to be a no send due to the fact that I can't get that piece of stuff off, whatever it is, glue maybe or something, right there by that Colts emblem. So it's probably going to be a no-go, and moving on to the next one. Next on the block is 2021 checkerboard Jamar Chase. Looking at this, once again, centering, first thing I look at, definitely heavier on the right side. Once again, there's a little bit of leeway. I'm also looking top to bottom centering, and it looks like it is just up a slight bit, a little bit higher on the bottom. And the reason I say that is because as I look at the very bottom, I am seeing another square that should have been the card right above, or the card below it on the printing sheet, and it was cut, and you can kind of see the squares off over there on the bottom on all these bottom edges. Like the bottom one is over to the left a little bit farther. So that's one of the things that I found. Up, down, centering was off, and then the top edge on the back there is a ding. So once again, corners look great. As I was taking a look at the edges on the top edge here, I did notice that there was a bit of a ding. See if I'm be able to get it. Kind of on the upper left hand side. It's kind of on the upper left hand side. There's a little bit of a ding. Kind of hard to show it here, but it's like to the left of those numbers pretty much. Kind of where that glare is in that area. Hard to see here, but with the naked eye, you can kind of see it. With the lens magnifier, you can definitely see it. So that's another thing that another check mark that is for concern. And then so the back looked good besides that little thing, and then right over here you might even be able to see it with your naked eye right there. There's some kind of smudge. There's a little pinhole there, and then another pinhole over here by his calf, right next to his calf. So those are stuff that is definitely seeable by the naked eye. So that's something that the grading guys will definitely catch. Once again, glue or something on that thing. Kind of try to rub it with a microfiber cloth, and it did not come off. It definitely showed You know, so it's kind of catching, but it's not wanting to come off. So 2 pinholes, little dirt spot. It's like, you know, if I send this, maybe a PSA, PSA 9, maybe, um, and then I'll have a second look. I'll have a second pair of eyes take a look at this, and then we'll go from there. So moving on to the next one. And next up, we have the 2020 Donruss Downtown of Justin Herbert. Nice rookie downtown. What I'm looking at this, once again, centering, number one. It does look like it's a little bit heavy on this left side, like the card is shifted that way ever so slightly. As we take a look at the back, you can kind of see that as well. It's a little bit thicker here and lighter there. So I guess it's a little opposite of what's going on the other side, but a little centering off on both sides, the front and the back. Next thing we have on the back side, we have a black dot. You can kind of see it, possibly see it right there with the naked eye. There's a black dot to the right of the downtown. I don't know what that is. I tried to kind of rub it. Nothing was coming off. I didn't want to do anything too excessive to damage the card, but something black there, missing some paint. And there's another white dot right below that A, but like right next to that line, there was a little dot there as well. That is what I saw on the back. And then on the front, it's somewhat tough to tell. There are some like print lines, you know, print line looking on the bottom. Hard to get it to focus, but it's just like, looks like somewhat like print lines, and it also looks like it could potentially be like some kind of texture, because there are like little dimple looking things in some areas, but then it could also be some of this texture. So it's a little goofy what they got going on, but there are some like faint lines going right and left here on the lower part. There's a few deeper ones. So I'm going to see what I can do with this to get this, you know, I'll probably be sending this one in for sure. Probably be hoping for a PSA 10, but I'm going to write PSA 9 /PSA 10 to see what we get. And next up, we have the 2021 Kaboom Deion Sanders, something that I pulled once again. Really cool card. The centering looks pretty decent. Really hard to gauge on this one. What I went off of was from the bottom to the lettering, even though Sanders is up at an angle kind of like that. Try to go from there to here to see about centering there. Really hard to go off of Kaboom or even the outline of the player. So as we take a look at the back, what I was using here is right here where it says the NO for number and then the K40, trying to center off of that. And then right down here in this corner as well, I was trying to use from the side to the bottom and trying to get a number off of, you know, kind of get a gauge off of that. So really hard to find centering on these guys, but other than that, the next thing that kind of caught me was the raised edges. I got some elevated edges around the outside on this Kaboom, which is kind of interesting. I have seen that before with some of the thicker cards. Let's see if I'll be able to show you guys what I'm talking about. A little hard to tell, but I believe these were cut probably on the back, or, you know, could have possibly been on the front, and as the shear had cut it, it was coming up and just kind of peeled an edge, so it almost feels like a little burr going around everywhere around all the edges. So once again, something for me to look into. I'll have kind of a second set of eyes look over this before I do send it out, even though I could send it just as a trial run to see what would happen. Another thing that I did notice was there was like a print line. You can almost see it with your eye, but as I looked on other PSA 10s that had sold on eBay, that line was on all of the other ones, so that's nothing for me to be worried about. The next thing that I saw was a little dimple on the M, little discoloration. Let's see if we're able to see it. You guys can see it. There's like right there on the M. Easier to see in real life. There you go. There's a little flash of it. It's missing a little bit of color, and there's a little bit of dimple. So I was able to catch that with my eye as I looked over it. And then that was another flag for me. And then again, I have some print lines. The first one that I saw goes up and down right off like the bicep. You can kind of see it right there a bit lower off the bicep of his left hand, or his right hand, on the hand on the left side. There is one there that you can kind of see, and then there's a few other lighter ones that are harder to see with the naked eye or even to show through the camera, but they are definitely there. So those are kind of my, you know, things on this. Other than that, a really clean card. Back looked pretty solid. Didn't see anything big. No problems on the back. Just a couple things that I mentioned. Probably I'm hoping for a PSA 10, but with a little ding up there, I could see a 9, couple little print lines, raised edges. I don't know how much that would damage, how much damage that would cause in grading. So we will see. I'm hoping for a PSA 10, but possibly a 9. I'm going to write PSA 10/9. Next up, we have a 2021 Optic Brady Freedom Parallel. Centering, it looked pretty good side to side. Had no issues with that. As I looked top to bottom, little bit, it's kind of goofy. Over here looked real heavy. Down here looked thinner. Looked at PSA 10s on eBay, and that's about what they looked like. So that might be okay. Might be getting away with that. As far as corners and edges go, had a little bit of an issue with this corner right up here. It just looks like it's somewhat rolled, just kind of looks goofy. It's still sharp, it's still pointy, but it just looks like it's been rolled over, which is kind of weird. And that kind of goes along with, even on this bottom side, you guys can see where it's red. You can kind of see that it's rolled as well, like the chrome is rolled over and not cut very clean. Looking at the top, same thing. Edge on this top looks kind of choppy. You can kind of see how it's not necessarily a clean cut, which is kind of a bummer. I was hoping I'd be able to grade something nice, grade it myself for my PC. But unfortunately, that is not looking like it. This is probably going to be a no-go. I'm seeing a dimple right over here where this guy in the red is. You can see it right there where it's kind of spotlighted, a guy in the red on the right side of Brady, behind Brady. There's a dimple there. As we look down, there is another dimple right behind his calf. There is another one to the front side of his other calf on the front foot. As we look closer up here, we see there are a couple more where that like black cape looking thing is. There's a couple more of them right there. So, wish I could have sent this guy in, but I think I'm going to be passing. Mark this guy as a no-go, so this is going to be going back into the sleeve and back to the Brady collection just to let it sit as it is. We'll see what the next one brings. Next up, we have a 21 Select Brady, number to 49, orange out of 49. Once again, first thing, looking at centering, right to left, looked pretty solid. It looked like a little bit heavy on this side, but it's just ever so slightly. And then top to bottom definitely looked off. The bottom being a whole lot heavier than the top, being thicker on the bottom than the top. Looked at the centering on the back as well. Same thing. You can see that it's just thicker down at the bottom. Top is a little bit thinner. So centering is definitely something that I'm somewhat concerned about on this one. As we take a look at the corners and the edges, the front looked pretty decent. There's a little smudge that I noticed up here by this one. But as I took a look at the back, on the back there is, on the edge, on the bottom in the red, you can see there's some discoloration right there. That is a little bit of chipping going on. And as we take a look at the corners are a little bit harder to show for whatever reason in here, but there is like a little bit of a fold, like it caught an edge. Maybe somebody was top loading it and then caught the edge and it just kind of folded that edge up a little bit. Kind of hard to see here, but it's kind of there. It's similar to what I had going on with the downtown Trevor Lawrence, but that's what I saw on those. And then once again, a lot of pinholes on the front. While I'm on the back here, right up here by the number 1, you can see it's some kind of residue of sorts kind of getting stuck on there. I don't know. I haven't really hit it with my microfiber yet. And there's a pinhole right to the left of that NFL mark. You can see it. It's a little dimple right there. That's on the back. So I know they're not as tough as grading on the back as they are on the front. But still, nonetheless, I saw a pinhole, and I am going to be kind of recording that. As we take a look at the front, once again, pinholes, typical chrome issues. Right up there is a pinhole on the left side, like on that little edge there. Upper right-hand corner-ish, there's a little smudge, something that I'll have to hit with the microfiber. As I looked over it, there were some other smaller pinholes, but still some pinholes. There's a pinhole over here, I guess to the left of my finger there. A little bit of a pinhole there. It's in the black, kind of hard to see here on the camera, but right there you can kind of see it light up. Another thing you can see is there are like some faint scuffs from, I guess, handling the card, and that is on there as well. Right there you can kind of see just some like surface stuff going on there. I'm not sure if there's a way to, I guess, doctor that or fix that, patch that up in any way. But definitely a cool card. Brady, I wanted to send a Brady since I PC the guy. This is my lowest numbered card. I might just pull the trigger and send it and just kind of cross my fingers and hope for a 9, but then, probably be disappointed if I get an 8, even though it's got all this stuff going on with the card, centering and all that kind of stuff. So I'll write it down as a PSA, hoping for a PSA 9 with a question mark, and then I'll get this one double checked just to get a second pair of eyes on it. That way I'm not going in it blind, so I know, hey, it's probably going to be an 8, and then I can really make the decision at that point whether I send it or not. Next up, a 2013 Topps Chrome Pink, number to 399. Taking a look at this, centering looked pretty good. It was a slight bit off, but nothing that I was concerned about. Back centering also looked really good. Number 303 out of 399. Back, looked pretty good. And as far as doing edges, corners, they looked phenomenal. I mean, perfect. This is going to be a card that I will definitely be sending. A couple things that I did notice was there is a print line on right there from Brady's arm to the right where it says Wendell or whatever the guy's name is there. To the right, you can see a print line visible to the eye. Stretches for a decent chunk, which is kind of unfortunate. And then another thing that I saw was there was a pinhole on Thomas's right shoulder. Let me see if I can get that right there. You're able to see that pinhole. And then there is another one right above his head where it's kind of black. That one's a little harder to see. And then also right down here, we're on this pink border. We'll take a look. It looks like there's some like bubbling type of thing coming out. Chrome, just chrome issues, not like crisp lines, just kind of more like fuzzy blurred lines. There's a little bit on this side over here as well. So you guys can see it right there. You can see it pretty good. It's nothing that's like not flaking of the card. It's just indentations of the texture that's on the card itself going a little willy wonky. But I'm going to go ahead and, little surface. It's just, I'm going to write PSA 9. So if it does come back a 9, I'm not going to be disappointed. But that's going to be definitely one that I will be sending in. Next, I had a 2013 Prism Blue, looks like a blue pulsar, something like that. Was looking at centering and checking out the corners and edges, and then I flipped it over, and then I saw this, and this was kind of a dead giveaway for no, not going to be going. If I can get it to focus to show you guys right there, that bottom right corner is definitely like creased. And then when I saw that, I went ahead and flipped it over to the front side, and got this under, and you can kind of see a line right there. And that is the only thing that I saw on there that was of any kind of damage. Everything else looked good. A couple little pinholes here and there, but that was it. That's kind of what the straw that broke the back horse, so to speak. So that Tom Brady won't be going. Nice card. Unfortunately, got some damage, so that will not be going. Back to the PC it goes. And next up, we have a 2005 Topps 50th anniversary, 50-year Aaron Rodgers rookie card. Looked it over. Centering looks pretty decent, pretty good. I'm happy with it. Front and back both looked good. Started taking a look at the corners. The backside looked great. Edges looked good on the backside. As I take a look at the front, right up here on this top right-hand side, there is kind of where that glare is. There is a area that was like bent out, almost, if you want to call it that. But it didn't look all that, just didn't look great. It looks like it's just kind of flared up just a little tiny bit. So that's just like an area of concern for me. Something, once again, I don't know how the grading thing works, how bad they would ding this card. But that is a find that I found. Another thing that I found was, you probably even be able to see it, there is a print line going from the right of Aaron Rodgers' hand to the right side. You can kind of see it there. I'll just throw a mag over it just to kind of show right there. It's pretty massive. You can kind of see that, and it's pretty big. And then another thing that I noticed was to the left of the ball, right up there, there is a little bit of like gunk. I tried to wipe it off, and once again, it did not want to come off. I don't know if there's a special trick. I just kept rubbing it. It got better, but it's not completely off, and I don't want to be, kind of getting nervous rubbing it that much. So right where that little glare is, like right up there, there are like 3 little lines you can kind of see. And that, for me, is somewhat of a concern. Back looked great. I'll probably go ahead and write this as a PSA 9 and potentially send it in, depending on what they're going to do with this big old print line. If I can get a PSA 9, it's still a $100 card. I got it in a trade for about $50 worth of value. So fingers crossed, hoping I do good on it. I'm going to write it down as a PSA 9, and I'll get it double checked just to see what the other set of eyes thinks. Next up, we have a 2020 score, Kenny Pickett, number to 20. This is something I pulled in a free pack in a giveaway that I was doing when I was doing some breaks with a group. So this is what I got, the 2020. So this is kind of a freebie card. But once again, if I'm sending it to grading, I got to be fair with myself. So taking a look at the centering, right to left looks pretty good. Top to bottom looks pretty solid as well. If anything, it's a hair thicker on that side than on this side. I don't think they're going to be too much of sticklers there. But once again, you can see a little thinner there, a little thicker there on that border. Top, bottom, a little harder to tell. But when I went around and started doing my corners, all the corners on the back side were pretty solid. They looked pretty darn good. Edges looked good as well. As I got to the front side, taking a look, right down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you guys can see it's elevated. It's, once again, like somebody's putting it in a top loader or a penny sleeve, and they nicked that corner. And then right next to it, you guys can see the little white spot, little flake of the edge came off. So that's two areas there that I had that were of concern, that left-hand corner and that bottom edge. And then there are some print lines on the back that you are able to see pretty much with the naked eye. Right down there where it says by the O, where it says rookie, there's definitely an area there. We'll just go ahead and throw a little magnifier up there. You guys can see it right there. There is a line. There's a few other smaller, thinner ones next to it that are a little harder to see, but they are definitely there. And then next I have to the top and right, you guys can see a little dark spot above that draft logo. You guys can see a little, like something glue was there. There's nothing there. It's smooth. I threw the micro fiber cloth over top of it, but as you guys can see, definitely something there, and can't, just like a glossy type of area of the card that's just glossy, which is kind of weird, interesting, but those are the finds that I saw. Once again, I'm going to get a second set of eyes on here, second opinion, just to see about these two things, how much damage they do, if they would drop that down to an 8, or if that would still be a solid 9, just kind of to get an idea. Next up, we have the potential next up quarterback for Green Bay, 2020 optic Jordan Love green laser. Taking a look at this centering, it did seem a little bit off, like it's a little bit heavier on this side. Could just be me. Up, down looks pretty good. Top to bottom looks good. Take a look at the back side. We can see this side is a little bit thicker than the side over here. So it just kind of shows a little bit of off centering. If they're gonna, I know the back doesn't get graded as harshly as the front, but we got it. Just looking at the centering there. And then as far as the corners and edges, corners all look good. But then again, with like some of these chrome cards, some of these edges definitely look like they've been rolled. As you guys can see, kind of where my fingers are at there. It just looks like it's just been rolled down, which is kind of goofy. I don't know. Preferably crisp ones. I don't know how they grade on the rolling on these edges, if it goes up or down. I've seen some that are raised and some that are raised up, and then some of them that kind of get curved and rolled over to the back and in. So those rolled edges, and I was looking at the back, I noticed on the bottom it kind of had some flaky, not as straight, not as crisp of a cut when they were cutting these. I mean, a little bit of chipping, if you want to call it that, but it just kind of looks like it's rolled over once again with some chipping, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of weird. I know it's hard to see, but with the glare there, it's a little bit more visible, but that's kind of what I was going up against there. Kind of noted that. And then the flaky ends, it's kind of, even tough to tell, but you can kind of see, let's see here. You can see it's not it's almost textured in there. It's almost textured in there on the end of that card, which is kind of makes that flaky, fuzzy things on the ends. I try to kind of pick at some of them that I was able to see, just to see if I can't clean it off. It was like it was cut, but not cut all the way. But there's that. That's another one. And then as far as the surface goes, checking over that, there is a print line on the leg right there. And then there is a dimple on his little hand warmer bag, like right around that area right there. So those are the only things that I noted that, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for. I mean, surface-wise, corner-wise, looks good. Just these edges kind of have me concerned. I don't know how they grade edges that are raised or rolled over like the way this one is. So um, potential PSA 9, with a question mark. Um, and I'll probably get it double checked. And I know right now the Jordan Love market is hot, so I might, if there's enough things that kind of catch and snag, this is about $100 card raw right now, which is crazy, with the trades of Aaron Rodgers moving on. But people are picking it up, trying to get the next guy before prices get too crazy. But they are kind of crazy already. So even if I sold this raw, get $100, I would be happy with that. Would prefer to grade it, come back and sell it for even more. But the market might not be there if something happens and Aaron Rodgers stays. That market might drop right back down for Jordan Love. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have a 2022 Mosaic debut silver Kenny Pickett. Looking at this, centering is really hard to gauge, but just kind of going off the back and then using little emblems and stuff like that. It did look pretty solid on the back. Front was a little harder to gauge, just kind of going with it. As I was taking a look at the back, checking out the corners, the edges, man, these edges just look absolutely terrible. Let's see if I can't get this somewhat focused for us to get a good view of what I'm talking about. I mean, they look decent in this video, but in reality, these things were fuzzy, flaky, and it's just really hard to gauge. I mean, I just don't know what's acceptable, what isn't for a first timer, and it's like what's the point of sending like a $5-10 Kenny Pickett card in to potentially get a $25 or 30 card, and just the numbers aren't adding up. But really wish they would pop up. I'd be able to show you guys a better thing of what I'm looking at here. Just for this one, I mean, those edges, another little bummer. And then there's some light surface scratches here on the back. Let me see if I can't get a glare to kind of show you guys. There's one that kind of goes right across his chest or right over the 8. Let's see if we can't see it better. Right there. There it is. All the way up to the ball. A little bit of rough there on the back. I know the back isn't graded as much. The edges looked a little better than the back, but still that curled edge, or however you want to describe it, right up there on the top. Curled corners are still sharp, but just rounded over, which is kind of tough. And then the next thing that I noticed were some pinholes. There's one right there where that like greenish yellow area is. You can kind of see it pop out, and then there's gonna be one somewhere over here right between his leg. Looks like a little bit of a dimple as well. So just a couple little ones, but it's just tough. This one's going to be a looking at just numbers, raw, what raw goes for, what a PSA 9 and a 10 go for, before I send it in. Got to do a little more research, and then I'll have a better idea after I do that. Next up, 2020 Burrow Blue Scope. Taking a look, centering looked pretty darn good. The one thing, again, that top being rolled over like that, I don't know how they grade, how they go off that. And with the top being rolled, that's kind of a sign that tells me that it's not cut very clean. So as we take a look at the back here, over here on the left hand side, it looks like there's some like chipping, just like a rough cut, like it was not sharp, wasn't clean, was not a clean execution, and all the way up this edge. So it's pretty much starts from up here, and then even that top left hand corner is another thing that I noted was kind of rolled over. I know it's going to be hard for me to show you guys. Let's see if there's any way to get a glare on it. You guys can see that glare doesn't go all the way over, like it's been rolled or possibly dropped on that corner. And there are some of those flakes that I was talking about. It just kind of gets flaky. It doesn't get cut as clean as some of the other ones that I have seen. But other than that, it looked pretty darn good. On the front, there were a few faint print lines on Joe Burrow, just kind of on his body right here on his legs. They're more, you kind of see it a little more. You can see it with the naked eye, which is obviously not a good sign. But as we take a look with the magnifier here, you can see it right there. There's a couple that pop up more like around his waist and down to his legs. So, bummer there. I'm thinking a solid PSA 9 on this one. Probably going to send it. Probably get a PSA 9. Got this, the back corner. We'll see. If I get a 10, I'll be happy, but going to chalk this one up as another PSA 9. Next up, we have a 2021 Topps Trevor Lawrence collab card, autograph on card auto, number to 99. Looking over this thing, centering looks pretty darn good. No surface issues at all, not even like print lines or nothing. Super nicely done. Back also looks very clean, nice sharp edges, no corner issues, no rounding, no soft corners, nothing. Man, this has got to be like a PSA 10 with even like a 10 auto. That auto looks clean too. So love it. I might even grade that auto. We'll see how it goes, but I'm chalking this down as a PSA 10. So there you guys have it. That is my PSA sub that I'll be subbing in. So if you stuck around this far, I thank you. Really appreciate it. This is like, once again, I was saying, this is more for me. Just kind of me getting a feel, trying to, I don't know, the camera quality is probably not that great. Kind of hard to see some of the stuff that I was talking about, even for me to see later. But I'll kind of have an idea since I kind of explained it and showed it. Longer video, but do a quick recap here. T-Law going, Joe Burrow going, Tom Brady going, Herbert downtown going, T-Law downtown going as well. These are the ones I'll be getting a second look at. Jordan Love, got a Kenny Pickett, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady number, Deion Sanders, Jamar Chase, and a Troy Polamalu. And then I got to do a little bit of research on this guy. And then these are the 3 that did not make the cut. So these 5 will be going for sure, without any doubt. And then these I'll have to go through, get a second look, and then figure out what I want to do with them at that point. So thank you guys for watching. If you've stuck around this far, thank you, thank you, thank you. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. Follow, make sure to hit that bell notification, turn all that good stuff on. That way you can follow all my content. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.